Yesterday, I was driving on the freeway. I had my music on and I had my little protein shake. But this day, there was a closure. As soon as I got to the overpass, all the traffic was backed up. Now I was going to be late. Now I had to find a different way to work. And we don't like that. Humans don't like unpredictability or when plans change. It throws us off. And it puts it into perspective because that's oftentimes how autistic kids experience their day. So when things don't go as planned or the routine has changed, it causes a lot of stress. There's overwhelm and meltdowns. So today I'm going to share why our autistic kids thrive with predictability and structure. The more predictable we can make our day-to-day, the more content, the more comfortable, and the more safe our kids will feel. Let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Celeste. I'm a BCBA who's been in the field of ABA therapy for over 12 years. I educate and empower parents on how to teach their autistic baby new, meaningful skills beyond the traditional ABA therapy route. Like we talked about, the brain craves predictability. So you and I, we can tell time. We have calendars, we have planners, we set our phone alarm to remind us, what's going to happen. But our kids don't have that same skill set just yet, especially if they're really little. And so we want to give our kids that same front loading in the form of visuals, which is what we're going to talk about today. And also consider life happens. The purpose of this video is to promote a general predictability and structure at home. It doesn't mean that you can never veer off course, or it's because life happens, like kids get sick, or maybe your tire blows out. Or maybe you go to a birthday party, you end up staying really late and it throws off the bedtime routine. So it doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It just means the next day to get back on the horse and get back on your usual routine. Let's talk about what a typical routine might look like. Let's talk about the bedtime routine because it's the most common. A routine is basically a series of events or tasks that happen in the same order each time. And that's a good thing because in general, our autistic kids are really good at identifying patterns. They know when this happens, this happens, this happens. And the more we're able to contrive those healthy, predictable routines, the better it's going to be for our kids. Example is the bedtime routine. This is a visual schedule. This is a way you can incorporate visuals at home. Read it to your child. So first we're going to go potty, then we're going to take a shower, we're going to brush our teeth, and then we're going to go to bed. And so as a parent, you set these little pictures up. So how it works is you read it to your child and then they complete the first task. Okay, let's go potty. They go potty, they flush the toilet, wash their hands, and then you walk back. You come back to the visual schedule, you help them rip it off. Okay, good job. Next one, take a bath. And that's a way to get them involved. It may be helpful to find a home for this. So maybe you could thumbtack it to your restroom door or somewhere where it kind of lives. So like I said, this is one I made myself. Let me know if you want a separate video on how to make it, but really you can buy these off of Amazon. If you just type in visual schedule routine chart, there's so many options. But I want to say the goal is not for you to get overwhelmed because I think it's easy to get overwhelmed with the endless options that Amazon has. So I'm a big advocate for the simpler, the better, which is why you can see on my visual schedule, there's the pictures are really simple and it's not high tech. It's not fancy or anything. And sometimes simple is good. I want to offer some perspective here, parents, that buying the visual schedule alone isn't going to promote structure and predictability for your child. That's going to be on you. The visual schedule is just a tool, and it's really up to you, the parent, to consistently practice this every night. And with that repetition, the kids slowly are going to learn the new pattern that's emerging, right? So it takes repetition for a pattern to reveal itself or for the kids to learn it. So if we only try the visual schedule once or twice, and sometimes parents say, oh, it didn't work, I would argue that you and your child need more practice. Another way you can use a visual schedule aside from the bedtime routine is to use it for moments of surprise. What do I mean by that? That means, like, let's say your child has an upcoming dentist appointment or an upcoming doctor's appointment, or let's say there's a fire drill at school and they sent out a notice for the parents, so you know, but your child may not know that. I had a parent the other day saying, oh, his dad usually picks him up from the bus stop every day, but today's an off day, I'm going to pick him up because his dad is not able to today, which never happens. And so I told the mom, let's go ahead and front load him. Let's draw some pictures because we didn't have the visual schedule right then and there because it takes time to print and laminate those. So we ended up just drawing. Stick figures is fine. Don't feel like you have to be an artist, okay? So we drew some stick figures and we let her son know. We said, look, today mom is picking you up from the school bus, okay? And he was just kind of looking at it. But that's a great example of using visuals to front load our kids and to let them know what to expect. Because at the end of the day, nobody likes surprises. Also consider, parents, there's no such thing as too much front loading. Going back to the school bus example, like I was telling the mom, if you know that you're going to have to pick him up from the bus stop and this change is going to happen on Monday and you know it by the weekend, go ahead and remind him each day. Talk about it in the morning, talk about it in the afternoon, talk about it before bed. There's no such thing as too much front loading. Our kids like to know what's going to happen. We do too. Think of it when you're at work or at a training. You're like, okay, when is this over? Like, or what's the agenda? And I always skip and I'm like, where's the break? Where's lunch? So we like to know what's going to happen too. We like predictability. To recap, we talked about why structure and predictability are so important for our autistic kids. We want to visually show them when a change is going to happen because nobody likes surprises. A visual schedule like the one I showed you, or just visuals in general, are a great way to show them what to expect. But the schedule alone isn't going to work if you don't practice. It's really that repetition, that new pattern you're trying to teach your child. If you learned something new from this video, please leave me a comment on what it is. I'd love to hear it. From your favorite BCBA, keep showing up, keep doing the work. You got this.